Since the inch-wide holes in the retaining wall were big enough to see, there's a chance Freedom Industries might have known that their 70, 80, or to 80-year-old tanks were in need of replacement or repair. It is therefore possible that the company did not incur the expense of fixing them because they didn't have to. Can you imagine that, guys? They didn't fix the tanks because they didn't have to. All right, John, can you come back to me? Can you flip back and forth? There you go. All right, now this is from the Daily Kaz, and this is Freedom Industry has ties to the Koch brothers. Very briefly, if news reports have left you with the impression that Freedom Industries, the company that has contaminated the water supply, serving 300,000 people and who knows how much wildlife in 9 Western Virginia counties, is rinky-dink Charleston operation, that might be because the media isn't mentioning its influential ties. In 2008, Freedom Industries was specifically selected by Georgia Pacific Chemicals as a distributor of PG's Talon brand mining regions for West Virginia, Pennsylvania, Ohio, Maryland, Minnesota, Kentucky, and Michigan. Georgia Pacific Chemicals is, of course, a subsidiary of Georgia Pacific, which is acquired by Koch Industries in 2005. Now, this is more or less their mission statement. We are excited to offer our customers inventive products like Talon that push past the status quo in coal recovery and bring profit and productivity benefits to mining preparation plants. Guys, that's what we're talking about. It brings profits. They don't care about the people. The hell with the people. We want the money. All right, now to put more salt in the wound, and this is kind of like the kicker. This is from the Examiner.com. It's written by Tim McCowan from the Philadelphia Progressive Examiner. Freedom Industry, the major corporate media has been pretending is just a local West Virginia company, actually has ties to Koch Industries and the Koch brothers. The Kochs have used their billions through the American Legislative Exchange Council, that's ALEC, to influence compliant politicians, anybody that'll take the money they're dishing out, to rewrite business regulations, there's that word, regulations, and demagogue the idea that government regulation is oppressive and is damaging corporate competitiveness in the global economy. Can you believe this? This incident would seem to prove that the Kochs have spent millions pushing yet another corporate lie for profit at the public's expense. Freedom Industries of Charleston, West Virginia is the distributor of Georgia Pacific Chemicals' Talon line of coal cleaning chemical reagents. Georgia Pacific Chemical is a subsidiary of Koch Industries, and their board of directors reads like a who's who of Koch Industries management team members, including Charles Koch. The Talon brand has been sold by Freedom Industries in West Virginia, Pennsylvania, Ohio. All right. In addition to being a Koch subsidiary, Georgia Pacific has been part of ALEC, another Koch brothers financed enterprise, to provide state legislators with pieces of ready-made corporate-friendly right-wing legislation such as voter suppression laws, right to work for less, in parentheses, and over 800 pieces of corporate-friendly legislation that removes the average citizen from participation in any form of the democratic process. The Koch's claim of jackbooted Gestapo enforcement form government oversight would be laughable in light of the disastrous chemical spill that has left 300,000 without water and hundreds complaining of effects from the chemicals in the water. OSHA had never inspected Freedom Industries till after the spill to ensure workers' safety. The state of West Virginia, DEP, had not inspected the Elk River site of Freedom Industries since 1991, when it was owned by another company and was not used for storing hundreds of pounds of 4-methylchloroquine, the mining reagent that we're talking about. According to an article by Ken Ward Jr. in January 11, 2014, Charleston Gazette-Mail, the chemical storage tanks in question are 1.5 miles upstream from West Virginia, American Water's intake to supply 300,000 people in and around Charleston with water. Freedom Industries, in compliance with the Emergency Planning and Communities Right to Know Act, has filed documents acknowledging the storage of mining reagents at the Elk River storage site. Both federal and state officials were aware and yet seemingly had no emergency plan in place. These guys had nothing. It interferes with the profits. We can't have emergency. No. The free market will take care of that. I mean, the free market. This is surprising, given Georgia Pacific's history of being involved in some of the worst toxic waste sites in America, according to the Political Economy Research Institute of the University of Massachusetts. In addition, Georgia Pacific has been one of the worst air polluters as well. The story isn't about overreaching big brother government. It's about incredibly tax oversight that may well be proven to be the result of bought and paid for politicians' willingness to look the other way to get their campaign cash. West Virginia has a history with the coal industry of being run by big corporations, not the people of West Virginia. Guys, when are we going to start to understand this? You know, we talked earlier about a living wage and about changing the business model. When are we going to wise up? How many of these people are going to get sick in West Virginia? How many people are going to die? What about the animals? Do you think these guys are going to pay a penny to anybody? They'll go bankrupt, they'll close up shop. Hey, sorry, we went out of business. So what? You got a kid with cancer? Hey, you know what? Then we're going to wish that they had Obamacare, right? Yeah. Well, you should have got yourself Obamacare. All right, now listen, guys. The rest of the show is going to get vicious. It's going to be one bada bing right after the other. I mean, we're going to open the wound and we're just going to keep putting salt in it, and it's not going to stop. And after a while, you're going to say, Rich, I got it. I understand it. Coke is a bad word. Coke is a really bad thing. Well, guys, Coke isn't a bad thing. It's an evil thing. And the next clip will explain exactly how evil the Koch brothers are. John, hit it.
I'd like to buy the Koch's a world so they'd leave ours alone. Then go back to Park Avenue and crawl beneath their stone.
I'd like to teach the Koch's about a true democracy, where working class kicks corporate ass from sea to shining sea. I'd like to give the Koch Coke's the birth for my whole family. Just keep your phony culture warm.
And keep your fucking teeth.
Make them go away. Evil things. Make them go away. Evil things.
All right, now that we got you all warm and fuzzy, you know, and everything is nice and you're on your nice little sugar high, we're going to let the Young Turks really explain how the Kochs go about conducting their business. So, John, hit us with the
Now,
next.
often on this show, we talk about the Koch brothers and other folks that are buying our politicians and the reasons that they do it. So, for example, they want lower taxes so they could keep more of their billions, or they want less regulation. But oftentimes, you don't see the real results of that lower regulation. So, for example, when the EPA does not regulate their plants, what happens? Well, Brave New Foundation, led by Robert Greenwald, went and investigated a town in Arkansas where that is exactly what was happening. First part, we're going to show you here, and they've got the whole video on KochBrothersExposed.com, and it's fantastic. But let me show you a small clip here from somebody from that town, Mr. Bowie, explaining the problem here. Let's watch.
We have 15 homes in this area, and maybe 11 people has died or more with cancer, and that's unreal.
What's going on here is a crime. It's just a waste.
My daughter Letitia died at 43. She grew up in the neighborhood. She had a husband, a devoted husband. She had children that she really and truly loved. And I think that she died too young. She was a non-smoker. She was not a drinker, and she got lung cancer. And you know, you'll wonder where did it come from?
These people are sick, they're dying. This is inexcusable. That's murderous.
Good to see you again.
When I met Mr. Bowie, I could not believe what was going on in this neighborhood.
I think it has to do with our environment, what we smell, what we inhale. We were deer hunting in the back, and we noticed that there was such a strong odor back there.
The smell was so strong and so bad. It was awful. I started noticing in my river these sheets of black coming downstream. The color's different, the smell is different, the whole river is different.
It's rough. Whatever's in it is killing these trees.
They have cut this huge channel, and it's like an open sewer line.
This is where the smell is coming from. You can see the steam coming from the stuff, and at times it gets so bad it's like a big cloud, and it gets up in the warm air, and it flows right over the trees where our property is.
It is our mission to find out what it is, who's behind it, and how to stop it.
It causes the throat to be sore, eyes to hurt, nose, and it's harsh to breathe in.
The first time that I came here, I saw the color of the water. It was like an epiphany. This right here, this private property, but if you could follow it in a straight line, you would be at Georgia Pacific's plant owned by Koch Industries.
It's pitiful that Koch allowed this kind of a stuff to be just dumped in the wide open like this.
Once I saw this, I knew Koch Industries were the culprits. They know that these people are sick.